Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Suleiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. That's bringing out audio. This is the fire zone, the black alert hour of the fire zone. Brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about the plan. Brothers and sisters, you need to understand a lot of things. You got 400-year history here, and you don't understand what you're up against. You was programmed 400 years ago, from 1555 to 1619. You was programmed, right? Turned into Negro butts. Took 64 years to complete the programming. The first Negro bus came off the assembly line in 1619, right? Fully stamped with Master's brand. You went in Kunta Kinte and you came out Toby. See, Jeff Richardson, Matt Washington. See, Perry Jacobson. See, that's his brand. That wasn't your name. That was his brand. He stamped you with his brand just like you ran cattle. And the brand changed depending on what master you were serving at the time. You don't understand that, brothers and sisters. And you're programmed against yourself. You're programmed not to think. Not to think. You have to do what master tells you to do. And master sealed the deal with his demons. 600 years ago, they went and produced demons all over the planet. See, in other words, they spread their seed all over the planet because the man carries the seed. And so the devil spread their seed all over the planet to cause the confusion, disorientation, revolt, dissension, destabilization, all over the planet. They're called demons. Half devil, half man, right? So he did that. That's how you see all the people on this hemisphere really light skinned. When they arrived here, everybody was darker than me. Even the Arabs were originally dark skinned people. Now most of them are almost white. They spread their seed all over the planet. They did it purposely because they knew their seed would be loyal to them and have the same mindset they have. So suddenly, everywhere they went, they found peace, tranquility, right? There was no disease, no suffering, no famine, none of that. But they brought that with them. When they came out of Europe 1,500 years ago, after 1,000 being in the pit, you better read chapter 20 again. That's not future, that's their history. The Islamic Empire was the resurrected group they talked about chapter 20, and they're the ones that kept them bottled up in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. When they turned Europe into a shithole. They came out, they saw everybody prosperous, especially Africa. Africa was rich beyond belief compared to what they had, and they was envious of it. And everywhere they went, they turned gold into shit. See, but if they was the wisest and the best people on the planet, then how come they didn't turn Europe into a model of beauty, a model of civilization? No, they turned a shithole, and nobody wanted to live there. They had famines, blight. They had overused the land. They was tyrannical against each other. They was trying to escape there. Everyone was trying to escape. They say they were escaping religious persecution or whatever. They were trying to escape. Nobody wanted to be there. See? It says the devils would go out to steal, kill, and destroy. That's exactly what they did. They went out and stole everybody's land. They killed the inhabitants. And they destroyed us as a people. It's easy to know who they are, brothers and sisters, if you want to know. You need to understand your history. Understand them. It says they are the flesh. They're wicked by nature. That's the Master Farad Muhammad's teachings. That's Elijah's teaching. That's not Farrakhan's teachings. He's teaching something totally different because he's a demon himself. He follows the devil. If you follow the devil, you are a devil, period. That's biologically sound, right? That's mathematically sound. That's genetically sound. That's scripturally sound. It's logically sound. So that's you have to understand that background. Okay, they brought us over here. See, it took 64 years to program us to turn us into Negro butts. Robots that just don't think and do whatever they tell you to do. So we was in that condition for 40 years, from 1619 to 2019, which would be a plague. Read Abrahamic Covenant. Brothers and sisters, read the whole thing, not just the part Farrakhan wants you to read. Read the suffering part and the reward part. That's 1619 to 2019. That's the 400 years. And strange in a land that's not ours, foreign land. See? And then 2020 will be a plague that will kill the firstborn, which the same thing is the elderly. But will pass over us. That's exactly what happened. 2020, plague came in and is killing the elderly, right? Or the Caucasians. It wasn't killing us. They lied about it. And then the World Health Organization, about a month or two ago, published a statement saying that they couldn't understand why Black Africa and Haiti and places like that, where all black people were not affected by this plague at all. But somehow the blacks in America was dropping like flies, which was a lie. And they don't talk about it anymore because they was talking percentages instead of numbers. So they know exactly what that means. That means we're the true seed of Abraham. But we're going to get back to that in a minute. So we need a little more background here. See, we came over here during an agricultural, agricultural age, where you need physical workers, right, to work the land, to pick the crops, and so forth. That's the agricultural age. And that age, for the Europeans, lasted about 6,000 years. That's the way they were from very beginning all the way up to, right, agriculture age. Well, you had the age of the conquistadors, if you would say, because the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire, all those empires, they wasn't really based on agriculture. They was based on conquest. They would go and take other people's stuff that were agricultural. So they would go and invade other countries, take their stuff, and then make them pay taxes, right? So they had to give so much of their crops and stuff. So it's still agricultural age, but they was taken from the people. They was taking and robbing other people of their stuff. But they said they say, oh, it was great empires. No, they weren't great empires. They were thieves and robbers. The Romans were great thieves and robbers. That's how they got rich and powerful, by taking other people's stuff. The same thing with the Greeks. See, all the European empires in the past, that's how they got rich and powerful. And nothing changed. That same thing happened 500 years ago. They went out, stole people's land, took their stuff, and killed off the inhabitants. So industrial age and the agricultural age lasted, because they came to existence 6,000 years ago. So the agricultural age lasted for 5,500 years until they brought us over here. And then they went to industrial age. From industrial age, they went to the AI age. And that's another story altogether, because you say, what changed? How come they was a horse and buggy people for 5,500 years? And then suddenly, in America, all this innovation, all this technology, the whole world just changed as soon as they brought us over here. You need to ask yourself that question, brothers and sisters. Start deprogramming yourself. Start asking yourself these questions. And start taking bullshit, stop taking bullshit, right, for facts. Say, prove it. I want facts. I don't want any more mysticism, bullshit. I want facts. Ask questions. Start deprogramming yourself, because you've been programmed not to ask questions, to accept whatever master told you. Because if you go back and examine everything you've been told, you find out that you can't prove any of it. And that's one of the problems we have, because our people, some of us get angry at our people, say, oh man, how come they don't do it? How come they're not acting better? Because the way they're acting is based on the knowledge they have. You know, your brain is basically like a computer. All it does is process information. But if you only got bad information, that's what it's going to process. And so it's going to come up with bad conclusions. And our people are getting bad information, lies and deception. And so it's our job, Elijah Muhammad's job was to give them facts. Because once they get the facts, then they process it and they come up with a proper conclusion. See? But the point is, they're trying to stop you from getting the facts. They're trying to keep you from being in the mind zone to the heart zone and dealing with emotional stuff. Music, Jay-Z, partying, sports play. To keep you from thinking, because once you start thinking and they start giving you good knowledge, then you come up with good conclusions. So they're doing everything to block sound knowledge with BS, mysticism, religion, and everything else. Once our people get, it's like if they have a choice between clean water and dirty water, they're going to choose clean water every time. But they haven't got any clean water. So therefore, if you don't have clean water, dirty water will have to do, because you need water. And so it's our job is to make sure that they get the knowledge, because it says our people are lost for lack of knowledge. See, because if you give them proper knowledge and it gets to their brain, then they will come with proper conclusions. That's the way the brain works. Okay. So when the Industrial Revolution came in, they did not need you anymore. You heard of cotton gin and things like that. They didn't need you anymore. See, because they had machines. And the more they got into industrial age, the more machines they had, the less they needed you. So that's why they freed you, because no longer needed you. Basically what they did was they fired you. And they claim, oh, we saved you, we had a civil war, because it had nothing to do with slavery. It had everything to do, right, with the transition from the agricultural age to industrial age, and having to compete with slave labor. Because what Master was doing is he was farming you out to the factories and things. And so in other words, if they was paying the white folks $10 an hour, Master would say, okay, you pay a slave $5 an hour, because you wasn't gonna get the money, and you wasn't gonna give any back talk. You was gonna work many hours they told you to work, hard as they wanted you to work, 24/7. And so the whites said, I can't compete with that. And they wanted to stop it. And so they tried to make an agreement and said, okay, y'all have it here in the South, but because they was at that time they hadn't taken California during the Civil War. They hadn't had those states yet. So they said, okay, we will not have slavery moving into the western states. And South said, hell with that. We have slavery where we want to have it at. And that's where the war part started. Because it was economic. It had nothing to do with their love of you. Because they promised you 40 acres of mule, you never got it. They threw in you a ditch, you had nothing. They gave you nothing. They threw in a ditch because they no longer needed you. See, so they freed you because they no longer needed you. They actually fired you. But they tell, oh, Abraham Lincoln, no, you better go read that story again, brothers and sisters. But I'm getting to a point here. See, because they always do things, you got 400-year history with them of total abject terror, hatred. See, they treated dogs as humans and treated you as dogs. Worse than dogs. They had no love or anything for you. They said, oh, the North was different. That's bullshit. Harriet Tubman came out of New York. You know, the Wall Street in New York was named Wall Street because that's the reason why it was named Wall Street, because it was a wall where they sold slaves. It was a popular wall where they sold slaves. There was a big slave center, and they called it Wall Street, and that's where I got his name, because they lined slaves up against the wall. And the South controlled the House and the Senate and the presidency for most of the time since America began. So if they stopped North, then one slave, they could have just voted it out anytime they wanted to. So don't go with this BS. The North loved you, but the South, no, they didn't. They didn't care about you any more than the South did. And they went to war because they couldn't compete with your slave labor that the slave master was sending up north into the factories to do the work. That's why they went. Because as soon as the war was over, what they did, they started guilds, apprenticeships, unions. They keep you out of those jobs. And you still find some of that today. You better get real, brothers and sisters. Stop the bullshit. Stop eating the bullshit. Stop listening to it. So I'm getting to a point here. So they long gone needed you. But now you became a burden because they didn't want you here. See, Lincoln proposed to send you back to Africa, but he said they couldn't afford it. A lot of people did go back, right? But that happened in the 20s with Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey and that kind of stuff. They went back to Liberia. But they wanted to ship you out here. See? They didn't want you here anymore because they didn't need you here anymore. So what to do? What to do? What to do with these niggas? What to do with them? These Negro butts, we programmed them. Now what to do with them? You see? So, the scriptures tell you, that's why I said you need to, it said the book is under veil to be unveiled by Suleiman when he broke the 7 seals, and then the book will be open. But most of you don't understand any of that. So it tells you their plan is to destroy you. They said first they would try abortion. That didn't work, throwing the river, right? But the ultimate plan is just to destroy you, get rid of you. See, we're the true seed of Abraham. That's another issue. But they said, we the true Israel. It says, let's get rid of them. Let's make the name of Israel be remembered no more. Let's destroy them. That's what it says. That's their plan. The scripture revealed that to you. For you scripture brothers and sisters, right? God is revealing that to you. That's their plan to eradicate you, to get rid of you forever. It just totally distinct. They pretty much did that to the Native Americans, right? And you think they wouldn't do it to you? You got 400 history with these people. You got a 400-year history with these people. But see, the problem, you got these demons I told you about, and they spread all over the planet to destabilize the planet. And they said, we got the worst case of demon plague of all the people. Because they said half the black people in America are demons. Read the book of Mark. It says they were plagued by demons. They was plagued so bad they was self-destructive. See? So half the blacks in America, and they're successful like their dad's successful because this is a period of time, right? This period of time, those people, wickedness and everything is prosperous. Because it says Satan is God of this world. So therefore, during his time, him and the people that with him would prosper. The devils would prosper and the demons would prosper. That's why you see them more prosperous. They're almost as prosperous as the devils are. You see them on TV. You see them in Hollywood. You see them in sports. You see them all these different places because they're devils. It's black-faced devils. Because it's their time, but their time is over now. The time came to end at 2019. See, that's where the plague then rolled in. See, 1619 to 2019, that's what the Abrahamic Covenant says, that 2020 be a plague that will kill the firstborn, right? And that's the elderly and pass over us. Read that report by the World Health Organization, WHO, where they said it's not affecting black folks, right? In Africa and Haiti and so forth. So they understand what's going on. They don't want you to understand. And they got the demons working full time to make sure you don't understand, you hear nothing about the Abrahamic Covenant, that you don't know anything about that kind of stuff, right? Keep you blind. Because the last preacher that spoke on it, they blew his head off. That was Martin Luther King. He spoke on the Promised Land. Read that speech. And the next day he was dead. So the plan. See, they know what they have done. They know that God's coming to get them. See, they understand it better than you do. So they're trying to figure their way out of this thing. So I'm going to try to give you an analogy here to make you try to understand it. You got 7 people, right? They get attacked. So they're at a party or something. They get attacked. And they all get hurt and end up in the hospital. So they want to press charges against the people that attacked them. So people attack them, get together and say, well, look, can we pay off your medical bills and give you some extra money, like maybe $100,000 a piece or something? And just let this go away. Don't press charges. So you say, okay, I'll go along with that, right? So 6 of you go along with it. But they need all of you to go along with it, because if one don't go along with it, then that person still press charges. They still where they were to begin with. They have to get all of you to go along with it. So if there's one holdout, right, it won't work. It has to be unanimous. Because that one person press charges, and that means that he press charge for everybody, because everybody's going to be included, because they're going to testify that all these people was involved. Whether they want to press charge or not, that one person press charge was going to cover everybody. But even if it just covered them, the people still in trouble. You understand that? So they turn a criminal case into a civil case. Okay. So we've been here like 400 years, and they've done everything. They've done anything that's possible to be done to us. There was no limits to what they could do to us. You cannot find anything that can be possibly done to people that they didn't do to us. It's beyond your imagination. And we can talk about things, but I guarantee you, no matter what we talk about, we can always find something that they did worse than what we think they did. I mean, they would take and have one slave defecate in the mouth. For you don't understand what defecate means? Shit in his mouth. And then they would seal up the mouth so he couldn't spit it out. I mean, how sick is that? How sick is that? And I got the books. This is their history. These are some of the things they would do. See? They raised a black woman, right? She didn't escape. As soon as she was able to walk, they was raping them. Toddlers. They had the right to so-called break in every black woman. A black man couldn't touch a black woman unless they gave permission. And so consequently, relentless and unrestrained rape for 400 years produced a whole hybrid of demons, their seed with black skin, who think like them, act like them, feel like them, right? And they call them house Negroes, because they would allow them in the house, because they wasn't afraid of them, because they knew they had the same nature, see? And the only problem they had was they wanted to be treated like the rest of master's children. They're called house Negroes. And the preachers, they was house Negroes, because their whole idea was to keep you, right? Make sure you stay programmed, because they had programmed us 4 years to do it. They made us a Negro bus, and the preacher was make sure we stay programmed, because you have 2 basic Christianities in America. I'm not talking about all the sex and stuff. You got the Christianity of the master and the Christianity of the slave, because the master's not told to love us or treat us properly, but we're told to love them and treat and do whatever they do, give them everything they want, love them no matter how bad they treat us and everything else. That's the Christianity that we have, that they gave us. But that's not the Christianity they have. Their Christianity is that we have them, they can do anything they want to us, and they did. These things are very simple, brothers and sisters. But the reason you don't understand them, because they program you not to understand them, and to refuse to even listen to it. Because some of you probably already went to sleep. I don't want to hear that stuff. See? That's your programming. And you've been programmed. Only way you're going to break that program, you got to start asking questions and start editing the information that's coming into you. If the information, check it. The information is not provable, then reject it. Because everything is mathematics, everything can be proven. And if it can't be proven, that means it's probably more than likely 100% not true. See, it's designed to confuse you and to make you come with wrong conclusion, because your conclusion was based on information that you have. If information you have is distorted, your conclusion is going to be distorted. Okay. So they went from they went agricultural age to the industrial age, right? And then recently they went to AI age. Now, in the industrial age, right? They didn't need you because what happened? They lied to you on that one. They gave all your jobs, right, to China. China became a powerhouse in the 50s. China was a basket case. They sent all your jobs over there. They built prisons for you. This is what they do. But we apologize. Well, if Biden pushed that stuff, he apologized so much. How come he ain't doing anything to get those people out that he put in jail for a lifetime for little or nothing, where they have a vial of crack, and they go in jail 3 strikes out, Lord. They're going to jail for the rest of their life when they're one of their Caucasian people have a 18-wheeler truck full of cocaine and they get slapped on the wrist. It's a little exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about. See, but he ain't going out, I apologize for that bill, a mass incarceration and everything. He ain't doing anything to get those people out of there. Nothing. Because he ain't apologizing, because that's part of the plan. So they finally come up with this, like I was talking about, these 7 people, right? So why does that figure in? Because they finally came up with this idea, right? Because they already boarded 22 million of our people and counting, and says New York is already negative growth because it says more blacks are being aborted in America than being born. So that's what they're trying to achieve. But they haven't achieved all over the place yet. It's 22 million of our babies been slaughtered in Margaret Singer's Planned Parenthood slaughterhouses. Because Planned Parenthood, right, she started, she originated, see, Planned Parenthood, see, and that whole purpose, and she said niggers are no good, they're like weeds, they should be destroyed, and that's why she said Planned Parenthood to abort all black folks, and she said she was going to use black preachers to get the message across. This is stated, Google it. This is absolutely, everything I tell you can prove, but yet still Planned Parenthood. They love Planned Parenthood, and that's why she was a registered Ku Klux Klan member. Yet you say anything about Planned Parenthood, and these black women jump all over you. I can abort anything I want to abort. Well, maybe they should abort your ass. You see. And then you got blacks accepting the Margaret Sanger Award. What? That's like a Jew accepting a Hitler Award. It's sick. Anyway. But that's those plans. I said, if you read the scripture, those plans wasn't working as fast as they wanted to work. Because their whole plan is to eradicate you, and this was just taking too long. So here's the master plan. Remember I said you got the 7 people and you had to be unanimous. Okay. Now, you know since 2020, the plague come in, they really are big on reparations. They're going to give you reparations. But they've been big on reparations for a while. But now they're really pushing it. See? But the plan is that to take this, because the whole thing about 2020 and that plague, that was the first of 9 plagues upon America for what they've done to us, and it caused them to finally let us go. Now read it carefully, which they don't want to do for many reasons I'm not going to go into. Maybe I might later. But the thing is that they said, okay, said let's deal with them shrewdly, so they won't see it. When you deal with something shrewd, that means they won't see it coming. So they got a lot of different plans, but I'm just talking about this particular plan. See, because they're really pushing it hard now, but they got one little problem. See, because it has to be unanimous. In other words, they want to turn this into a civil case. Because if you understand scriptures, God honors the contract. So if he offers you the promised land, you decide to take something else and you accept something else in place of it, then he's okay. That you chose that instead of that. You don't have to. So he washed the hand of it. Because remember the story about Esau and Jacob? Esau sold her heritage to Jacob for a bowl of soup, and God honored that contract. I mean, it was Esau. He was the one that's oldest. It was inheritance. But Jacob tricked him out of it, and God honored the contract. And he hated Esau for it. See? So what they're trying to do is say, because remember, this is the judgment. Judgment is because is a result of consequence. So all the things they do, they got to face consequence for it. God is not mocked. They have to face consequence for all the things they've done to us. There's no exception. That's the fundamental principle of the universe, consequence. You reap what you sow. The Bible tells you that that's what it be. It says it be a judgment, and everything that you've done, right, you have to be rewarded for the good and the bad. See? So you rewarded for your works. So if you did evil works, then you rewarded with evil. If you done good works, you rewarded with good. Forget about this stuff. Well, if you just believe in Jesus and all are washed away. If you believe that bullshit, then go on. Don't waste no time with me anymore. But that's the reason of the judgment. See? And it says God's gonna punish them for what they did to us. Right? Okay. So now they have to pay the consequences of what they did. So what they want to do is they're trying to pull a little trick here. They're trying to get you to accept payment for what they did, see, so they can escape judgment. In other words, don't press charges. See, we're going to get you to accept reparations. We're going to get you to accept 6 states somewhere, right, and money. So in other words, they'll give maybe $100,000 or $1 million to every person, all black people. Each one to get $1 million. It don't matter. See, when you find out how the thing really works. And they give you 6 states. So now, and you accept that, God will accept that contract because you say, okay, I don't want promised land. I don't want to be separated. I'm going to accept these reparations payment for what they've done to us. I'm going to accept these 6 states for payment. That's what they've done to us. And God will honor that contract. See? So therefore, they can escape judgment because we accept something as payment for what they did to us. They made it turn from a criminal case to a civil case. Now, you might think this is BS or whatever. You better read the scriptures again. You understand how this works. See? So they're trying to sell you that. Right? And if you accept that, then God washes his hands of it because, hey, he offered you this. You said, no, I don't want that. I'm going to take this. And so that's it. Wash his hand of it. There's nothing to do here. Right? It's like the judge says, well, hey, you accept that as payment. Right? So what's the problem? See? Another way of looking at it is you've been paying for this Lamborghini. You've been paying for it for 20 years, 10 years. You finally pay it off. So now you go to collect it. Then you got this slick salesman said, hey, man, you sure you want that Lamborghini, man? That's too expensive, man. You had a hard time paying for it. And now it's going to be expensive. The tires are expensive. You got a high expensive gas. You got to get a garage. You got, insurance payments will be high and everything. You sure you really want to do that? That's going to be kind of heavy hard for you, brother. So why don't you take this BMW over here? I mean, this is a classy car, right? It's got stature, right? And people, look at it, admire it. And it's beautiful, man. Brand new, man. It's got all the accessories. And man, it's not, it don't cost you as much to maintain. And that's something, he said. And he talked you into doing that. So you did do it. Then you go home, everybody tell me, man, that was dumb, man. You took a BMW for a Lamborghini, man. Are you out of your mind? And then you start thinking, man, yeah, probably a bad deal. Then you go back and say, hey, man, you just signed the agreement, man. Don't come back here. So you go to the judge and say, hey, didn't you sign? You took that. So what are you here for? You accepted this as an exchange, right? On your own will. Nobody forced you. So get the hell out of here. See, so then you're stuck because you got the flim flam. See, from Master Farrakhan, Salesman Farrakhan. It's the same kind of idea. See? So you accept that. So the plan was to get you to accept it. And universally, if you go in poll black folks, almost all black folks will be down with that. Yeah, give us our land, right? And give us $1 million apiece reparations. Almost all blacks will be down with that. Just talk to them. Yeah, man, I'm gonna give you $1 million, and we're gonna have our own land. See, in theory, in principle, most black folks are down with that. Almost all, 90%, almost 100%. But the problem was, he could have to have 100% compliance. Because if just one hold out, then God still has to honor his agreement with that person. And still has to punish America for what they did to that person. And that means the same punishment they would have got if they did to everybody else. See? So they have to have 100% agreement, 100% compliance. See? So they was on the well way to having that. And then they ran to little Elijah Muhammad. And he said, man, I ain't going for that one. I ain't going for that one. And that was the monkey wrench in the works. I ain't going for that one. See? He said, no, we the true seed of Abraham, and we going home. Forget about what Farrakhan talked about. Elijah Muhammad said, we'd be fools to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. Right? See? So he wasn't going for it. So they had to figure out a way, because everybody else was going for it. All other organizations, everything was going for it. There was almost 100% agreement except for the Nation of Islam or the Elijah Muhammad. And they had to deal with that. Say, we got to have 100% compliance, because if we don't, we're still in the same boat. Just one press charges and we get the same result. So they had to plot against Elijah Muhammad. That's why it says, when you talk about the son of perdition, it says he had to be taken away because they was plotting against him. And then the son of perdition was sitting in his seat. That's Farrakhan. See, who had deceived the people. So that's what they had to do. That's why Elijah Muhammad had to be moved out the way. So he was plotting against him, so he was removed. And then they put Farrakhan in. His whole thing's been trying to get you to accept reparations, accept this 6 states. We ain't going nowhere. That's his job, to sell that to you. That's the solution. Because if they can get the Nation of Islam go along with it, that's it. They can sell the deal, and then the deal is over. So therefore, you get these 6 states, which would be almost deserts, because the topsoil in America is almost gone. For those of you who know what topsoil, you better look at it, because you wouldn't be able to grow anything within 4 or 5 years from now, maybe 10 years, and then all of a sudden, nothing would grow. See? That's one of the flim-flams you don't know about. See? That's his job, but it's to sell it. And he was well on his way to doing it. See? So I'm not going to the scriptural thing about chapter 12 about that child that was born and he was snatched up, right? Because that was Suleiman. Suleiman came on scene and said, hell with that. I'm not going along with that. And he started telling people, where Elijah Muhammad was saying, tell them the truth. He broke the 7 seals, telling people the truth was really going on. See? And so they've been taught not to listen to him, and most of them not listening to him, but still, because remember, you have to have 100% compliance. And he says, hell, I'm not doing it. I don't want your 6 states. I don't want your I don't care if you give me $1 billion. I don't want it. Because see, that was the whole thing about Jesus being tempted in the desert, right? Satan came and said, no, you go along with this, and I give you all the kingdoms. Just go along with this deal. See? And Jesus said, hell, I don't go along with that deal. I'm not going along with it. See? Because he couldn't get he couldn't get Suleiman to go along with it. Because it has to be unanimous. See? So they tried to get rid of him, but they can't really do it openly. They had to make it like have to look like an accident or something, because then they're guilty of murder, so they stay real back in the same boat all over again. Because they can't force us to do this. We have to willingly do it. See, if they force us to do it, then the contract's no good, because it was done under pressure, under coercion. So they tried to get rid of Suleiman a few times. They was unsuccessful in doing it, right? But they tried to make it look like it was accident or whatever. See, because they have to have 100% compliance. And that's what's standing in their way. And see, because once they're 100% compliance, then okay, they accept this. So now they give you the 6 states somewhere, they'll be landlocked, and they won't have any topsoil. You can believe that. And then they give you $1 million a piece, right? So they give you $1 million a piece. They put all black folks, demons and the saints together, right? The chaff and the wheat. And they say they give you all $1 million. Well, that comes out to about $3 trillion, $3.5 trillion, something like that. But it doesn't matter. See, because they do the same like they did the Indians and everybody else. Because they want the deal. Because once you accept that deal, then God ain't on their ass anymore, because you're not pressing charge, because you said, because remember, he coming to get them for what they did to you, but you already accepted this is payment, so there's nothing for God to do. His hands washed off. Wash hands are fair. Because you don't want the promised land. You want these 6 states in the worst part of planet Earth, a blood-soaked state without people ancestors, right? And hog and everything else, right? Blood. I mean, but that's you chose that over the promised land, which is Arabia, not Saudi Arabia. Arabia, because they call it Saudi. That's another story altogether. But it says between Euphrates River and the Egyptian River, which is Arabia. So you chose that, these 6 states over that, and you chose this money as payment. So that's it. It's coming to a civil case. You're not pressing charge. You say, okay, I accept this for all the pain and suffering you went through for 40 years. If they get you to do that, then they solve their problem, at least in their mind. Okay. So, okay, now you accept it. So say they get 100% compliance, because they're not going to do it unless that, because you see, the Democratic Party is really pushing it now. See? Because they got Farrakhan on board. He's on board with that plan. He got the Nation of Islam on board with that plan, because he's telling them, you ain't going nowhere. He wants to bring devils in NOI. He kissing and loving on them, right? And, you know, if America's our country, and we should defend it, and all this stuff. See? So he sold you. He sold you, that lying hypocrite, he sold you, because he's a demon himself, as far as the devil. He sold it. He had to put him in there to sell you that plan. So now you over there, say you got the 6 states, and everybody got $1 million apiece. See, what do they do next? See, so you're going to trust these people. That's their money now. They're not giving you gold. They're giving you dollar bills. So you got 1 million of them. Everybody has 1 million of them. See, so then you over there, right? They closed the borders because you got your own country now, right? And we're not going to talk about infrastructure and that kind of stuff, because are you ready for it? You trained, you got engineers, architects. At Farrakhan, you know, do you have all that stuff? Anyway, so assume you have it. Or assume those would support you, whatever. Then they take, all the people, the white folks over here, and tell them, put your money in precious metals, right, and jewels and stuff like, you know, stuff, and they do that. And then they start printing money like you wouldn't believe. So all of a sudden, your $1 million, right, a loaf of bread was $1, now it's $10, then it's $100, then it's $1,000, then $100,000. You think that wouldn't happen? That happened in Germany. That's why Hitler came to power. Because the money, they call marks over there, right? I mean, it took like almost 1 million marks just about a loaf of bread. It break up the whole place. Now, that's another story together. So go check it out. You'd be surprised. So your $1 million don't mean anything. It's worthless. See? So now you don't have no $1 million anymore. But you still got these 6 states over there. But you have no money. See? You can't buy any food or anything. And they close the border on your ass. And then after that, then white folks take, after all your money is exhausted, none of it, then they have white folks take and transfer their money back from precious metals back to dollars. So they good over here. You have nothing. See, but they create inflation, a massive inflation, destroy the value of the dollar. See, but it didn't affect the white folks over here because they had money in precious metals and things. See, so now the borders closed. You over here, you starving to death. That's the end of the black folks. They're not gonna let you back in. You'll be begging. You'll be starving. You have no money, anything. You're landlocked, so you can't go anywhere and trade with anybody. That's how they plan to finally get rid of your ass. And that's one of the plans. That's just one of them. That's just one of them. See? But they wouldn't do that. What didn't they do when they had us on the chains? What didn't they do? There was nothing they didn't do. You know, you take an example, this so-called affirmative action thing. See, that's this little side segue here. They say, they march and everything with affirmative action, right? Okay, so you're gonna get affirmative action, so blacks gonna get all these jobs. See, at that time, most women was at home taking care of their children. At that time, most women, black and white. Black women usually was working maids for white people, clean up their stuff and everything. Because my mother was one of them. She used to go in and wash their clothes and clean up their house and all that kind of stuff, right? So then it came affirmative action. So in that case, in corporate America, that was mostly white men. So now black men thought they was going to get it. Oh, we're going to get affirmative action. So they got to hire us. And before the ink was dry, they classified women as a minority because they didn't say black men. They said minorities. And these demon Negroes, they went for it because they stupid. But they're going to do anything mass tell them to do anyway. And plus you got the Negro butts, So they sign up on this thing. And then they classify women as minority. So all the jobs that black folks don't get, the white women got. So that's why you see white men in corporate America and all that stuff, because those jobs that they don't, see, they trick you all the time. See, they tell you Jacob, Yaqub was a trickster. He was always tricking people. And that's how they bound to trick you. And you're not paying attention. You listen to these people like Farrakhan and Silas and T.J. Jakes and all these people, all demons, say, setting you up. That's the plan, brothers and sisters. Take it or leave it. That's up to you. But that's the plan. See, but they can't execute it unless they get rid of me, because I ain't going for it. And ain't those possibly with me. See, because I have to be careful people with me, because they send people over here, they claim with me, they ain't with me. They plants. They ain't with me, they plants. They here to make me think them with me, to try to trick me in some kind of way and set me up in some situation. I've been through that many times. They come, and the fun is then they're gone. See, because I know how to test them, how to shake them loose, how to expose them. See, because I don't mind doing this going alone. Says Suleiman would tread the press by the wine press all alone. So when the people come that saying support me, I always look at them scantly, because I say, "What you doing here?" Because I'm supposed to be alone. So what are you showing up here for? Because it says until the resurrection, Suleiman would be alone. So if anybody shows up, that means you have to be. Wait a minute. Are you a plant? You an agent? That's the plan, brothers and sisters. And Farrakhan is the chief legion. He was the one that's get Elijah Muhammad's plan, Elijah Muhammad's people, right? To go along with that plan, because they needed 100% compliance. And they was there. They was right there, almost had it, until Suleiman broke those seals, and he says, hell with that. And then they had a problem. Because they had, if you told black folks, almost 100% black folks aren't down with that plan. Only one's not down with that plan is me. I'm the only one telling you the truth. I'm telling you things you didn't know. I'm telling you who the demons are. I'm revealing. Nobody told you who the demons were before I'm exposing them, right? I'm telling you about the abomination of desolation. I'm telling you about the stolen the identity theft, false Israel identity theft. I'm telling you about the Sunnis, their plot to destroy us, how they put us into slavery. That's the story about Joseph, how they're doing everything they can to stop us, because they don't want us to excel either, because they don't want us to talk about the Abrahamic covenant, because they know that land belongs to us. I explain all your enemies and everything else. See, so I'm the only one. That's why you need to be thankful to Elijah Muhammad. Those of you that got some sense is waking up, because he saved your ass. Because if he'd have went along with that program, we'd have been gone by now. They would have gave us reparation, everything by now would have been done. If he'd have went along with that program, it'd been done, it would have been gone, we'd have been eradicated by now. He didn't want to stop it. See? And then they took him out the way, and Farrakhan, because he had deprogrammed hundreds of thousands of people, Farrakhan came and reprogrammed them back again, to turn them back to Negro butts. And he was well on the way to executing his plan, and then Suleiman popped up. See? And that caused a problem for him, because they have to have 100% compliance. You got to understand that, because if they don't have 100% compliance, if I'm the only person that's rejecting it, then God has to take and give me my reward, because I went through 40 years of hell. So he's had to give me my reward, right? See, because I'm not taking this deal, and they still got to punish America for what they did to me, which means is they're gonna get the same punishment as though that everybody, because they're gonna punish. So, right? So so they still don't get the same punishment they would get if everybody rejected. See. But you despise me and don't want to hear what I'm talking about. I'm saving your ass, Elijah. You despise Elijah Muhammad, he saved your ass too. Because you've been gone by now. You just took that deal. And you'd have been eradicated by now. It was a setup. They got other plans. This is just one of them. I got other plans revealed to you. But the point is, it's kind of late, because this war about to start in the Middle East. Y'all worried about this thing with Russia. That's BS. That comes in the category of wars and rumors of wars. That's not going to spread like Farrakhan told you on his bullshit rambling, his swine song. See? Because, he looked out and saw everybody was saying, so he figured, yeah, it's going. No, it's not. That's not what's going to ignite Armageddon. What's going to ignite Armageddon is the oncoming war in the Middle East. That's going to ignite Armageddon. See, it says men's hearts be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth, which rest of European countries, all European countries, including America, because the powers of the heavens were shaken. That's what's causing ignite Armageddon. It says their hearts was failing. They're having heart attacks because the earth represents European countries, including America, but heaven represents the Middle East. And who has power in the Middle East right now? America, Britain, and false Israel. It says their power is going to be shaken. And when this power is shaken, that's not supposed to happen, especially false Israel will be taken down because the abomination of desolation, they're going to be destroyed, which is not supposed to happen if they true seed Abraham. And that's why it says the people going to be hearts going to be failing over here, right, in America, and especially in America, because they're going to be feared, because once they see that happens, they know what's coming. They know what's coming after that. The 9 plagues is coming after that. So it's going to be so bad, the heart's going to fail in anticipation. So what do you think the heart's going to do once it actually happens? See, so I'm revealing this to you. You run into an intense time. Right now we're going through this period of Jacob's trouble because everything is going around me. Everything in my life is just with this shit. Because it said we had a little period of Jacob's trouble. I explained that. See, and anybody, everybody's with me. They everybody's having issues. See. But that's just a little small period that's almost over. See? And it would be, when the water breaks for new nations coming in, see, that wasn't false Israel. That's our nations coming in. Then that period would be over. So we got some things we've got to go through. I'm going through stuff right now. But the point is, you have to understand, this what this reparation stuff all about. That's what Farrakhan's all about. He's Aaron, the deceiver that came after Elijah Muhammad. They got all those people killed. Read Exodus. He's a deceiver. He was trying to sell you that plan. He came almost within seconds of completing it. But then Suleiman popped up and he said, no, I'm not buying it. See? And he was all by himself. Because you had almost unanimous acceptance. Man, I'm going to get $1 million, man. I'm going to get reparation. I'm going to get my own land. They almost unanimous. 100%, right? Compliance or agreement with that, going along with that plan. Except that, but they have to have 100%, not 99.99. And I'm not doing it. So they tried to get rid of me several times. I can show you, I give you the evidence. I ain't making up anything. I show you the car they destroyed. As in, you see that car? It's like a black pancake. They said they don't know how anybody survived it. But they have to make it look like, they can't be overt with it. They have to make it look like it's an accident or something. That's not going to work. None of this stuff they're doing is going to work. I'm just telling you. See, this is their plan. This is one of many plans they have to eradicate you. See, and they failed in this here, so they got other plans. But they still want to put this plan in action. That's why they said, Democrat, hey, yeah, let's give them reparations, give them reparations, give them reparations. They want to give everything now. But they don't need you anymore. They don't want you anymore. Because you're a burden for them. They got the AI age right now. Have you look around, they're telling you getting accused of everything. So what are you going to do? What jobs are you going to have? They bring people across the border to do the manual jobs. They send all your industrial jobs to China, and they send all your AI jobs to India. So what is you going to do? What is there left for you to do? Nothing. So what are they going to do? Just give you money to live in that shack you live in? To run around in some raggedy car or something? Eat shitlings? Brothers and sisters, if anybody's telling you otherwise, they're a demon or they're a viper selling you out. Because that is a simple plan, you can understand it. See? Because they don't want you to understand. So these demons, their whole purpose is to make you, don't pay attention to that stuff. Stay programmed. Make sure your programming is intact. Don't listen to anybody tell you anything against Massa. Right? You got to be a good Christian. You got to be this. You got to be that. Don't listen to all this other stuff. Keep you blind to any knowledge that's positive for you. See, this is the plan. Okay. So I hope some of you wake up, brothers and sisters, because our people are lost for lack of knowledge. False Israel is not seed of Abraham. The scripture tells you that. It says they're synagogue of Satan. Those who say they're Jews are not. They're synagogue of Satan. Is identity theft. That land over there don't belong to Arabs, it belongs to you. There's so much, brothers and sisters, we can talk about. But I just want you to understand this plan. And abomination of desolation, what is that about? That's about to take place. The war in the Middle East is about to take place. That's what's going to trigger Armageddon. They're going to go to war with Iran and Syria. They're already at war with Syria to a great extent. They go to war with Iran and Syria, and they're going to lose that war. They're going to have, because Iran will have special help. I'm not going to go into that here. They're going to lose that, and false Israel is going to be isolated, under siege, and taken down, which is not supposed to happen, which is going to cause chaos and mind-blowing over here in America like you wouldn't believe. And that means, what that means is, that means that we must be a true seed of Abraham, and once that calculation, because it's going to be instantly, they're going to make that because once false Israel goes down, because false Israel was set up, because Elijah Muhammad said, we true seed of Abraham, to counter that. Say, no, that's them. But if they're gone, then we must be. And what does that mean? That means they're not good people because they've been oppressing, because before that we was Ham, so we was born to be slaves, we was cursed black. But now, that's not true, because we're true seed of Abraham. That means what does that make them? That makes them devils, evil, make them genocidal maniacs, stealing these people's land, because remember, before that, this was the promised land. So the Native American, they was like just roaches and rats. They was on the promised land, they had to get rid of them. So they wasn't doing anything wrong there. See? And we were slaves, born to be slaves with the Ham, cursed, black. See? But now, the truth is, no, man, you was oppressing Abraham's seed. And so you're murderers, you're genocidal maniacs, you stole this land, see? And that's the only conclusion. So only way they can get their mind back in peace, they have to eradicate us. And they have to call them go out. From all the evangelical leaders that's talking about, yeah, man, they went to war in the Middle East, they're going to kill, Jesus going to come back and kill everybody that's trying to hurt Israel. They're going to call and go out to get rid of us. That's what I say, flee. When you see that, when you see Jerusalem side armies, flee, because they're going to try to eradicate you. They're going to do it openly. See, it's not going to be so shrewd anymore. They're going to come out, they're going to take their masks off, and they're going to try to eradicate you immediately. It's going to be next door neighbor. It ain't going to be the army, because that's why I tell you to flee. People right next door, neighbors, they'll call and go out. You got to get rid of these people. Because all this happened to us now because of them. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to take and close out with our audio brothers and sisters over here. So you audio brothers and sisters, the Black Alert section, fire zone out. And for you video brothers and sisters, it's a video section. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Time of unprecedented trouble. This war will take place very soon. They're telling you openly they're going to war very soon. Israel said false Israel said they're going to attack Iran openly. They allocated $2 billion openly in their Congress or whatever for the purpose of attacking Iran. They got these planes they train every day to do it. They said, don't care what happened to JCPOA, they're going to attack anyway. Everybody knows this is going to happen soon. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, trying to open you up, trying to wake you up. But you can start deprogramming yourself, but just start asking questions and stop accepting the bullshit. Say, if you can't prove it, lose it. And examine all the information that they've given you over the years and sort it out. If it can't be proven, reject it. Deprogram yourself, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.